Hey everyone, it's Comet, coming at you with another video just like the last one, because they've been working pretty well and I like them, and this one's a real treat. One of the things that makes this one special to me is the fact that we got to play against a team that I actually used to play Highlander against. Of course it wasn't 9 people, but 6 of the players, I believe 6 of them, were like the original players from the team, so it's good to see them again after such a long time. We actually got to play their team in the playoffs, in Steel playoffs, like 2 seasons ago, and we had the most epic bid for like 3rd place ever. It was so great. It went to the last game on Viaduct. I'll never forget that game because it was the closest Viaduct game I've ever played. It was neck and neck the entire time that we were playing, and it ended up 2-2 in no one's favor. And on the last round, they had the cap. They were on the point. They were trying to recap it. We had 0 time on the clock. They had 0 time on the clock. Whoever capped it was going to be the victor. And we just started fragging. Everyone was fragging at the end. It was just a huge frag fest. Everyone was like freaking out because this was the title of 3rd place. No one gets a medal for, you don't get a medal for 4th. You get a medal for 3rd. Everyone was freaking out because there was a lot on the line. And long story short, my team ended up winning, but it was just super close. Even if we had lost, it still would have gone down in history because that was such an epic game. By far the best game I've ever played in competitive Team Fortress. But it's so good to see them again. One of the things, like my mentality when going into this game was not very good because the enemy team, like I knew they were very experienced with playing with each other, and so that kind of intimidated me a little bit. And also I didn't have the most confidence in my team at that time, specifically because we had just gotten, or we still have just gotten one of our scouts, Noggin. He's pretty new to the team, so we're not used to how he plays or all that stuff. And then our demo as well is new, so there's a lot of like compatibility issues with our team. While their team, they're 3 seasons or even more in a row playing together, and they have a lot more team cohesion, which is really important, and maybe even a little bit more skill. So the chances were definitely not for us. But I wasn't really expecting them to roll us as hard as they did. In the first half, you'll see that they get 4 caps in like 6 minutes, which is kind of crazy. That just means that we're doing something wrong as a team. And a lot of people will post videos saying, I did this good, or, like I did amazing in this game, or we did amazing, or it was a close game, but we ended up winning in the end. It's the same kind of situation here, but it's the complete opposite. I think that like people don't really want to show that the losing part as much, but I think whenever you lose, you get a lot more valuable information on you as a player than if you were to win. So we just started this game. I'm going to mid right now. I'm actually playing pocket for the team because the pocket was having trouble. He just didn't want to connect, or I don't exactly remember, but I feel a lot more comfortable in the pocket position. But like, the mid fights were never good this game, never good. And there can be a lot of reasons for that, but the main reason is just like bad positioning. We need to get there fast. We need to have the right positioning. Yeah, and like, okay, let's think a little bit more about like why a team gets rolled, right? In 5 CP, if your med dies on the mid fight and the other team wins on the mid fight, they get forward spawn, which means they're going to be at your second really fast, and they're also going to have full Uber advantage. And that's one of the reasons why teams win so convincingly on some maps, because it's not actually really convincing. It's just the fact that they had a really good med fight and that they got the medic. And I'm sure that's common knowledge to a lot of people, but whenever you're losing and you're the one that's getting rolled, these aren't things that really goes through your head. You're not like, why are we getting rolled right now? You should be thinking, like, if you're getting rolled, my med is dying a bunch because we're not able to counter the Ubers on last, or our Ubers aren't good enough, so our positioning is bad and stuff like that. And those are things that take a lot of like time in playing the game to identify. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I think that like losing really bad is actually like a really good thing for you as a player. You'll see right now that our med's really late to mid because he was healing our roamer, who is also late to mid. And now we have a lot less presence on the mid. I'm watching everything right now. But you see on my screen, I'm the only blue on my screen. It wasn't even that I overextended. In fact, I didn't even pass the point. I did a lot of damage. But no one was able to follow up on it because no one was in. There was no one there at all. And that's it's probably the key in this game that you'll see is that either I play super passively when I'm playing medic at the end of this, and we survive a little bit longer and delay the inevitable, or we play like somewhat aggressive and just get wiped on mid and die. And it really just goes down to how is our positioning on mid fights. I don't think we won one mid fight this entire game, and I don't even think any of the mid fights were really close this entire game either. Which is something to be concerned about, because that's a huge marker that's saying there is something going on wrong, right? I can't play passive and I can't play aggressive. What is going on? And it really just comes down to, are your team aggressing on damage numbers? Is your team following up on calls and stuff like that? Like if someone's on your medic, is your team getting on that? Is the right people getting on that? Is everyone getting on that? Because that could easily be a problem as well, you know? So when it comes down to mid fights, you really just need to know your role. If you're playing pocket, you need to stay near the medic. You need to not be doing what I'm doing right now. You need to be staying near the medic and making sure you're taking heals with him. Actually, jumping really early is not that bad if the demo's there, but you want to make sure you end up by the medic whenever he's done overhealing the demo. So yeah, like stay near the medic, make sure you're protecting him and stuff like that. Become an iron wall with your team. You need to have your team split up in the way that nothing would get past you without any of you guys seeing it, right? A lot of the mids are designed in a way where if you have the high ground or whatever, it is impossible for you not to see someone coming after your med or coming to your choke or whatever. So that's one of the things that I really like about Team Fortress 2, and the fact that they have like mid fights, and I really think that's super cool, and it's one of the like key highlights to competitive Team Fortress 2. But at the same time, it's one of those nuanced things where if everyone doesn't identify that kind of thing, and what you need to do on mid fights, you end up in a situation where even if you're way better than the other team, you're just gonna lose every mid fight. We're losing last again. It seems like our flank is dying way too fast on the last fights, and our medic as well, which is always frustrating. But I need to, like, whenever I'm playing the game, I need to be thinking, what could I have done differently that round? What could I have done differently? If you're good enough, you could almost carry an entire team. Sure, Pocket's pretty hard to carry a team with, but you can definitely do it. You can put out some nasty deeps. You can get some pretty good follow-ups if you play it right. But also, you don't want your role to leak over into anything else. You want to be playing your role at all times. So if I'm playing Pocket and our roamer's not doing his job, I might need to take over his job. But when it comes down to it, I am the Pocket, right? I am going to be with the medic. I am going to be the one that's receiving heals, correct? So if my Pocket or my scouts are out unperforming and I need to pick up their slack a little bit, sure, I could pick up their slack, but there's no way I'm going to fully commit to that slack, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things that people don't really get, is that there's a lot of people don't really see the classes as hybrids, right? Scouts can be with the medic. That was actually a really unfortunate situation. I mean, my reaction speed was really good. He just got the buckshot on the mid. That was all there was. But like, yeah, a lot of people don't really see classes in that way. Like, they either see you're playing Pocket or you're playing Roamer, right? If your Pocket's doing bad, the Roamer will say, let me play Pocket, right? There's no like in between. So I think that when it comes to your game, you should leave everyone's roles as is, but you can feel free if someone's like, if they're aggressing more on the flank and you're playing pocket and you're not supposed to be on the flank, you can play in between the flank and the pocket, right? There's always little slight adjustments that can benefit you greatly. So right now, our actual pocket reconnects, and this is closer towards the end of the game. They actually just rolled us super hard, and you'll see in this there's really no change to what happens. They still get a really good mid fight. Well, I mean, it's not as good as the other ones where... Actually, no, it's really, really good mid-fight. Because everyone's super, super slow on our team. Like, that's our pocket, that's our roamer. Our pocket's not even a mid yet. Not even close. Our demo and one scout are the only people on mid right now. And so I'm as medic, I'm just backing out. And so, like, they have a really good mid-fight. If this were any other round, they would push into last and win it. Right? They would go to second, push to last, and win it. And I think this is one of the things that I really like a lot more, is because I don't think it was the pocket change that made us do better. In fact, I top damage when I was playing pocket. I think that I have more of an impact as medic. And I always have people asking, like, why are you playing medic on competitive? Why do you play medic for your team? Why won't they let you play anything else? And I think the reason is because I have way more of an impact on the game and the way that the game works whenever I play medic. Just because I think my medic's a little bit better than silver, and I felt like I was playing pretty okay as medic. I wasn't playing amazing. I definitely missed a few arrows here and there, but still, like, I do my job. I know what I'm doing. I try and get in the way of people, even though most medics won't do that. I know how to play medic for sure. And I think that's one of the things that kind of separates me from a lot of medics in silver, is that, like, you need to know when to be aggressive. Similar to when you're playing any other class, you need to know when to be aggressive. There's not just one mode for medic, you know. And that's one of the things that people. That's like, I guess, kind of like a misunderstanding in the TF2 community, because you see these invite medics and they're playing super, super passively. They'll get out of a mid fight after one person drops, right? And then you go to regular things and you see people dying all the time, and you're like, okay, so the key is to back up and to be really passive. And then they do that and they have less deaths, right? That's really good, and it's really important to not have a lot of deaths as medic. But it's also really important to aggress, like right here. I'm aggressing with the soldier. It wouldn't be advised if you were playing passive. If you're playing a passive med, you would have sat on that point with that heavy just healing him, right? There's no reason for you to push up there. But right, me going there, I helped secure that kill. If the medic had run away, my arrows would have been maybe that icing on top that killed the medic. And that's potentially like a big difference in the game. And I think that's why I have more of an impact on the game whenever I'm playing, medic. Because anyone can shoot rockets. Rockets are easy to hit, they're dumb. I Ubered early here because I wasn't sure how hurt our soldier was and I didn't want him to die. He didn't actually force the med at all, which I was not pleased about. But I don't think their med actually had there, so it wasn't a big deal anyway. Again, he's being too aggressive there. I almost actually get the scout. But yeah, like, I have more impact on the game when I'm playing medic. And I think the thing to stop rolls when you're playing medic is to just play super, super passive. Playing passive is the best way to stop rolls whenever so you can, like, counter Ubers. And then really it just comes down to, do you have when they have on last? And are you able to stop them on last? And stopping on last is not that bad whenever you have Ubers. Or like even Ubers, but still, like, it's a toss-up. At least it's better. It's a lot easier for your team to get in position on last fights than it is for your team to get in position on mids, because on mid fights, positioning is everything. You don't even need a med on the mid fight. If you have good positioning, you will win it 100% of the time, and that's just all it comes down to. But on last fights, it's a little bit easier for your team to get that advantage because they have the defender's advantage, the positioning advantage from the beginning, right? So the other team has to work their way up. So as medic, you would optimally just want to stay alive, and then connect with your teams on the last, get that Uber built. Whenever they Uber, counter them, win that fight convincingly with your positional advantage, and that'd be the end of that, right? But it's a lot easier said than done. It's really just goes down to how is your team playing. If my team is completely awful, we will lose the mid fight every single time, right? And as like something like demo, you need to be really aware of who exactly is on the mid fight. And that's really the only critique I have for a demo, is that he always does this left click, right click shit, which is expected from every single demo. But there's no people with him at all on any of the mid fights because everyone was too slow to our mid fights. Another reason why rollouts are really, really important. Had we hit every single rollout this entire game, the difference in game time would be incredible. I feel like. I don't feel like it would be the same roll that we're seeing right now. This last round has taken like twice as long as the entire other 4 rounds at the beginning when I was playing Pocket. And I didn't do bad as Medic or as Pocket. I felt that I was playing pretty well. But yeah, as demo, you need to be aware of your surroundings. If you don't have anyone with you, play a little bit more passive. If you have people with you, feel free to go really, really aggressive. And you can't just have like an autopilot, this is what I'm going to do on every mid. Same with every other class, I would like to say, but as other classes, it's a little bit more arguable. Yeah. For Soldier, just get good positioning. Positioning is everything. If you lose a mid fight, and your med goes down, you need to know, am I bombing in or am I backing up? If you're the only one left, you're not going to bomb in. I would not bomb in. You should back up or try something else, because if you bomb in and it takes you a little bit long to get to the bomb or whatever, you're not going to be there for the last fight, because they can push mid to last in 40 seconds, 30 seconds, really, really fast, and it's unexpectedly fast for a lot of people. So understanding that your death timer takes a toll on your team, that makes a big difference in deciding whether or not you should bomb on those mid fights. And it really just comes down to that. If you lose those mid fights, you need to make the right decision, and you need to make it swiftly. You can't afford to just dilly-dally in the cross-section or whatever before you decide either of them. Because if you go too slow on the retreat, you'll get picked up by the people pushing. If you go too slow on the bomb, and you die and don't do anything with it, you won't be up for the last fight. And that's really important. You need to be swift in your decision making. You need to not regret any play that you do, right? You need to be always 100% focused. Scout is really important. And one thing I didn't actually see a lot was Pyro. Our scout named Chip, he likes to go Pyro, and I feel like Pyro would have been really, really good on like the early 4 rounds. Pyro would have been really, really good, because Pyro has the air blast. Whenever they have Uber advantages, air blast counters it pretty much. It's not like Pyro's not amazing. It's not really good, but I mean, switch it up a little bit. That's always fun, and especially when your team's being rolled pretty hard. But yeah, basically this game ends right here because we didn't build fast enough. I think I shot a little bit too much arrows while they were building outside. In fact, the advantage that they had was like 30-40% by the time that they Uber in here. So you'll actually see this. And that's one of the downsides to arrowing so much. I kind of got bored. When playing medics, I just started shooting arrows and stuff, and I wasn't really thinking about like, what if they get or build Uber faster, and that was the reason why we lost. If I had been playing like I was earlier in the game and not as frustrated or whatever, it would have been a lot closer of a last fight. But in the end, they played a lot better than us. We need to focus a lot more on positioning and stuff like that, and individual roles as well. Super important to know your role. If someone is not doing their job, you can pick up their slack, but don't do it entirely, right? And finally, I'd like to thank everyone for coming by and supporting me always and watching this video. Thanks, guys.